Hello and welcome to our coverage of this UEFA Women's Champions League quarter-final first leg tie between Chelsea and Wolfsburg from the Sirans Ferenc Stadium in Budapest. Massive game for the Blues against their old rivals in this competition. Let's see how Chelsea got to this stage. This is the second leg of the last 16 tie against Atletico Madrid. Chelsea were already 2-0 up, and Katrin Berger there had made 2 penalty saves in the first leg. Didn't need to save that one though. Tony Duggan whacked it against the bar. That would have made the last 15 minutes very nervy for Chelsea, but just moments later they got a penalty of their own, and Maren Mjelde, who most of you will know is not available for the rest of the season after getting injured in the League Cup final, smashed it home to make sure there was no way back for Atleti. They did pull a goal back late on to give some respectability to the tie and ensure they didn't get beaten in the second leg, but Chelsea went through fairly comfortably in the end. And that sets up this tie, a fourth time Chelsea have been drawn against Wolfsburg. Wolfsburg have won all of the previous 3 meetings. Round of 16 in 2016, round of 32 a year later, and then the 2018 semi-final. Former Chelsea player Helen Woods alongside me to hopefully enjoy the first leg of this game. Helen, the feeling is that Chelsea may be a little bit closer to Wolfsburg than they were when they last met in terms of ability. Would you agree with that? Yeah, I think so. I think the form Chelsea have been in over the last 12 to 18 months has been fantastic, and you know, the big thing and the big difference between the two sides now is that Pernille Harder is now a blue instead of a green, so you know, she's that important and that big a player that could make all the difference today. Yeah, more on her momentarily, but it is, as Emma Hayes has been at pains to point out, still an extremely talented Wolfsburg side. They've only lost 1 game since they were beaten in the final last season. They lost 3-1 to Lyon. They are determined to go one step further this time around. They have won the competition a couple of times before. As we know, for Chelsea, it is the Holy Grail. Well, this is the biggest test so far by a distance. Benfica seen off easily in the round of 32. Atletico Madrid was not straightforward, but they got there. Well, Wolfsburg start with 7 of the 11 players who began last season's final. Dominique Janssen will be familiar to some from her time at Arsenal. Eva Pajor scored against Chelsea in 2018. Captain Alex Popp got a couple of goals against LSK in the previous round. Officials from the Czech Republic, Jana Adamkova. Of course, Magda Eriksson has got the armband on for Chelsea, as we are used to. Pitch looks in reasonable condition here. We'll see as the game goes on. This is the formation for Wolfsburg. Expecting both teams to line up with a 4-3-3. Actually, plenty of quality and depth on the Wolfsburg bench as well. Here, Cabfi amongst the substitutes. She got a hat-trick against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge when these two met a couple of years ago. But it is a deep squad. We're used to that from Chelsea, not so used to seeing it from their opponents, packed with quality. Well, what an opportunity for some of these Chelsea players who've been here before and have never been able to get over the particular hurdle that they face today. As I mentioned, the Blues without Maren Mjelde, her penalties so crucial against Atletico in the last round. Niamh Charles fills in at right back. Sophie Ingle back from suspension after her red card in the last 16. A big day for Pernille Harder. She plays against the club she captained in last season's final. No Bethany England because of concussion today, and Maren Mjelde with that serious knee injury not available for the rest of the season. But Helen, still plenty of quality on that Chelsea bench should it be required. Yeah, certainly. I mean, the likes of Guru Wrighton stand out, Erin Cuthbert. You know, if they need a goal or a bit of creativity, there's 2 players right there that can come on and make a huge difference. And there's a lot of experience on that bench as well. And I'm sure that Chelsea are going to need to use those players, you know, as and when it's appropriate during this game. It's going to be a real tough ask, but you know, as you said, they've got plenty of depth both in the starting 11 and on the subs bench, so hopefully it could be a good day for them. Before kick-off, the players continue to reinforce the message that there is no room for any form of discrimination in the game. Difficult one to approach, not just for Chelsea but for both teams, with it being a 2-legged tie, but both being played at the same venue. I know it's different when you're not playing in front of supporters anyway, but Does that affect your mindset at all? And how difficult is it playing in the first leg of a two-legged tie? You can't lose it or win it in these 90 minutes, really.
Yeah, it's a strange one. It's certainly, like you say, you're playing away, but you're playing at home. Now, do Chelsea go into this with the mindset that they don't want to concede an away goal? Or do they try and go out and win it and get themselves an advantage and concentrate more on the attacking side? It's difficult because it's almost the luck of the draw if you concede in your home part of this tie. We were sort of talking about it before the game. But I think for Chelsea and for Emma Hayes, they're going to want to be ahead in some capacity going into the second leg, just to give them that's something to hold on to. They certainly want to be behind, that's for sure. And, you know, they're going to have to go out there and try and put their stamp on the game. I don't think there's going to be any sitting back from them.
Johanna Anderson's got the ball in her hand to try and link up with Sam Kerr. He did well to get to that first. Chelsea got a throw in 5 yards further up the pitch. Overdorf with the protective mask on today. And the goalkeeper had one in the previous round, but she's recovered from her facial injury. It's up into the air by Leupolz, then flicked on by Kerr. Kirby looking for it. It's Harder. Big day for her against her old club, wanting to go one step further than last season. Eriksson. Well, that ended up being a good pass to Millie Bright. I'm not sure that's what she was intending.
It's been a bit of a scrappy first minute and a half or so. A few sort of mistimed clearances. I think both teams are just looking to settle into the game and get used to what is probably not the best surface. It looks okay, but it doesn't look the best. And I think these two teams like to play football on the floor. So be a case of just getting used to it and getting used to their surroundings, I think, for the opening 10 or 15 minutes. I think it would be quite cagey before one of the teams tries to make their dominance felt, I suppose.
It's the home of Ujpest FC, this ground. So the ball not moving particularly quickly along the turf in the early stages. There's Janssen going all the way back to Hedresnek, the Polish international goalkeeper for Wolfsburg. Vast majority of these players are experienced internationals on both sides. Janssen just stepping away from Kirby. Said 4-3-3 for Chelsea, didn't we? But as you can see in the picture there, you expect Harder to be just a little bit deeper than Kerr and Kirby. Yeah,
she looks like she's gonna maybe have a bit more freedom just to patrol in between the lines, in between the Wolfsburg back line and their midfield.
It's a good cross. Millie Bright got in the way of that before it could reach Berger. Wasn't a particularly powerful header. Pressure still on the Chelsea defence here, though. And Berger decided to stay at home from that one in the end. The cross was too deep from Rauch. And Kerr on a different wavelength just momentarily from Harder as Chelsea look to break.
Yeah, I mean, it could almost be a bit of a diamond in that middle, with Sophie Ingle holding the sort of pivot just in front of the back four, G and Lupo's being sort of the almost wider of the two, and then Pernille Harder just in front with the two girls up front. But I think it will animate in very different ways. I think there'll be a fair bit of movement and rotation between those players because they're all so capable of doing both jobs.
Rolfo trying to get round New Charles here. Sure, that's somewhere that Wolfsburg have felt they could target, with Charles at right back, more of an attacking player normally than that, isn't she? But filling in because of the Mjelde injury.
Yeah, I mean, it's big shoes to fill. I think Mjelde, not only her ability as a footballer, but her experience and her leadership have been so important to Chelsea, and she's been called upon more often than not when she has been fit to play for Emma Hayes. She's very well regarded by the whole squad. So it's difficult for Niamh Charles to come in, but I have to say, whenever I've seen her play, whether it's at right back, right wing back, or higher up the pitch as a winger, I've been really impressed. And you know, she's played at right back for England in a couple of training games and one or two friendlies, and she's done very well. She's very athletic, very quick. So there's no reason why she should be particularly a weak link in terms of technical or physical ability. It may just be a case of experience. That might just, you know, a lack of concentration in that area potentially, but you know, I've no reason to feel she's going to be particularly weak down that side. But she's going to have to concentrate. But, you know, she's got some good players around her, and I'm sure that they'll give her all the confidence she needs.
Chelsea's previous best, 2 semi-final showings First against Wolfsburg back in 2018, reached that stage a year later too. Cute header flicked on that really lacked any kind of power from Pop. Katrin Berger, formerly of Potsdam, German international, familiar with Wolfsburg and a lot of these players. Here's Eriksson. She coming relatively deep to get a feel of the ball. It was her who put Chelsea ahead in the semi at Kings Meadow after just a couple of minutes. She again. Bright looking long, trying to feed it into the run of either Kirby or Harder, just got a bit too much on it. Now then, Kerr, that back pass wasn't great, and actually Kerr managed to get a deflection on Kidry's next clearance. Good pressing from Harder and from Chelsea in general here. Charles is away from one challenge. Here's Harder. Wiped out by Rolfo, and a pretty easy decision for the referee.
Yeah, I think that's Chelsea sort of setting their stall out now. They started quietly the first 5 minutes, but they were really encouraged. You could hear Emma Hayes bellowing orders to go and press and close down the goalkeeper, and it's resulted in a free kick in a dangerous position now. And I think that shows what Chelsea are planning to do today. They're not going to let them sit back and let Wolfsburg have easy possession. They're going to go after them, and they've got the players to do that. I think Niamh Charles, as we've talked about, because she has got that attacking instinct, she's not afraid to get forward and press higher up the pitch, which could be really useful for Chelsea.
Guided in by G, but straight into the goalkeeper's gloves. Here's Rauch. Pretty comfortable route through to this stage for Wolfsburg. 7-0 on aggregate against Spartak in the last 32, and then a pair of 2-0 wins against LSK in the round of 16. There's Huth up against Anderson, managed to get a cross in, and that one was straight into the gloves of the goalkeeper too.
It's a couple of attempts they've had from the wide areas to get crosses in. Don't know if that's going to be a theme of their play, trying to get Chelsea down the sides and put balls into the box. But so far, I think Ann-Katrin Berger's looked very commanding and hasn't been too troubled by those high balls, other than that soft header a few minutes ago. I think Chelsea will be quite happy to see crosses coming in if they're going to be like that and not attacked with any vigour. I think they'll be Chelsea will be happy to let them carry on in that fashion.
Yeah, particularly with two defenders like Millie Bright and Magda Eriksson, who will feel they can get the better of most in a physical challenge.
Yeah, certainly.
Here is Bright. Again, look how far up the field Charles is there. She's managed to get Chelsea throw in.
I think that rotation will be important, you know, with Charles being up there. I think the likes of Loopholes and Sophie Ingle, they're intelligent enough to then fill in almost as a false fullback if they need to, and take up that position at right back if Niamh Charles does bomb on. But, you know, that's quite a common theme in football these days with the movement of players. You quite often find a midfielder filling in those areas, and it shouldn't be a problem. Like I said, they're intelligent footballers, and they should have no problem doing it. I mean, Loopholes is there now with Niamh Charles playing almost as a winger.
Here is Charles, played in by Harder. Oh, went to cut it back to Kirby rather than Kerr. Wolfsburg struggling to get it clear. Now they can whack it up to halfway in safety. Rolfo looking to work it early for Pajot. Eriksson into the channel for Kerr. Well, Kirby in close support. But once Kirby's first touch let her down. A couple of nervy moments from defence like that already for Wolfsburg.
Yeah, they're certainly not comfortable playing out under the pressure that they're under at the moment, and I think that Chelsea, the more that they do that and the more mistakes they make, is going to give them so much confidence to keep going, and eventually you feel like it's going to lead to a chance, you know, and hopefully a goal. But yeah, really great start, and very nervy from the Wolfsburg backline, particularly out here on Chelsea's right hand side, and Wolfsburg left. They haven't looked comfortable at all.
In goal. Invited blocker, she looked to move it on to Anderson, but she's able to do that. Kirby. Wolfsburg happy to let Chelsea have it here. She had a look over her shoulder before she got that. And couldn't link up with Charles. Always favourite for that. Those penalty saves against Atletico Madrid, so vital to get Chelsea to this stage. 2 in the first leg at Kings Meadow. There's Charles seeing plenty of it in the opening exchanges. Pass to Eriksson. Wasn't quite on the money, and she did well to get that, and Kirby will happily chase this down against Dawson. And that's not a good back pass either, and Harder can get in here. It's really good goalkeeping from Kiedra's net. But Wolfsburg, again, almost architected their own downfall.
Yeah, the pitch certainly isn't playing to their strengths. It is holding up, and there've been a few loose passes. I really thought Pernille Harder was just going to knock that round the goalkeeper there, but she reacted well and got a vital foot in, and was able to collect it. But again, good pressure from Fran Kirby. She could easily have just sat off and let her have that. Just almost led to that chance, and as I said, it's not going to be long until those sorts of chances come, and you know, that's the first real opening we've had. But it's a fantastic start from Chelsea, and the way they've set up, and you know, they're putting a lot of pressure on Wolfsburg, and they're not looking very comfortable, certainly on this pitch, but definitely under the pressure that Chelsea are putting them under.
Here's Kerr. Kirby's already on her bike. She put the pressure on Dawson again here. Didn't want to pass back to her goalkeeper after what had happened a moment ago, and actually did well to find Hendrik. Now, pop in the middle here, waiting for a cross, and it comes towards her too, and it's flicked off the post. Wolfsburg a lick of paint away from taking the lead. Run across the near post, and the shot flicked off the woodwork.
Magda Eriksson just got caught too tight there, which is unlike her, and out of position. I think Pop probably should have scored that, but again, Niamh Charles reacting really well, was under a lot of pressure, but was able to clear it away just from under her own goal.
Down in the penalty area here for Chelsea with play going on. It's a head injury, so the referee will have to stop it, and does. Just got clattered by a goalkeeper, I think, Sam Kerr.
Yeah, Berger did very well again there, dominating her 6-yard box, but just unfortunately caught Sam Kerr. But sometimes as a goalkeeper, you have to clear out everything that's in your way, whether that's your own teammate or not. Thankfully, she's up and about, and she looks okay. Oh, in fact, it wasn't the goalkeeper, it was the Wolfsburg player that caught her in the back of the head. But yeah, she looks okay, if a little bit groggy.
15 goals all told this season for Sam Kerr.
She's linking up so well with Fran Kirby at the moment. I was fortunate enough to be at the Continental Cup final a couple of weeks ago, and the way they just know exactly where they're going to be each other, the runs they make, and the link up is fantastic. I don't think it clicked like that to begin with, but you can see they've been working hard on the training pitch together, and they clearly enjoy playing alongside each other, and Emma Hayes has found an excellent partnership there.
Here's Hendrick for Wolfsburg, buoyed by the fact that they've just come close to scoring. It's another dangerous cross into the penalty area. Chelsea say handball, referee agrees. Goal won't stand.
It's another let-off, you know, for the start that Chelsea have had and the pressure they've put Wolfsburg under. That's twice now they've got down the right-hand side, and, you know, Pop's pleading her innocence there, but the Chelsea player seemed very convinced it came off her hand straight away, so it'd be interesting to see the replay. Pop doesn't look happy, but that is two very big warning signs for Chelsea. They're going to have to really tighten up on the left-hand side of their back four, because players are getting too much space on that right-hand side and have put two very dangerous balls in.
Well, I think she's unlucky to be booked for that, because I'm not sure there's a great deal she could have done about it. It's clearly a handball. Was it deliberate? I mean, only she knows, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think it was deliberate, but of course the laws of the game state that if it comes off your hand and goes in the goal, it's automatically not going to be given, whether it's deliberate or not. But like you said, it's a bit unfortunate to be booked, and that, you know, almost puts her under a little bit of pressure. There's a long way in the game to go. She's quite a combative player, so she's going to have to watch herself now being on a yellow card. But yeah, again, as I said, it's another warning sign for Chelsea, and had she managed to get her hand out the way, it would have bounced off her and gone in, so they have to be careful.
Ingles ball over the top for Kerr to chase, meanwhile. Outnumbered at the moment, but Harder and Kirby getting forward in support. That's a poor clearance, straight back to Kerr, shooting position for her too. Sliced across it, and it was always fading away from goal rather than onto the target.
It's starting to open up a bit now. Both teams looking to get on the front foot. Wolfsburg have improved a lot over the last 5 or 10 minutes. But Chelsea still looking to get that goal.
It's actually looking like attack's probably the best form of defence for both teams, given how they've started at the back. Harder's not going to be able to catch up to that one. Forward by Rauch. Pajor chasing the flick on, but Eriksson able to see it back to a keeper. Good foot in from Sophie Ingle. Can Loopholes get to the loose ball? And thunderous tackle from Dawson, and she gets booked as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was very strong, and Loopholes has obviously come out of that a bit worse, but I do feel she got the ball. Maybe the referee saw something that we didn't, maybe there was a stud up, but again, it's... I mean, she does get the ball. I don't think her studs were up. It's just unfortunate that it's caught Loopholes, and, you know, again, unfortunate probably even to give the free kick away, let alone a yellow card.
And from a Chelsea perspective, you can say, as you said with Pop, well, that's, you know, difficult for her now with a yellow card against her name, but the flip of that is the referee set a precedent now, and it looks as though yellow cards aren't going to be that difficult to come by.
Yeah, so I think for both teams it's a warning. Thankfully for Chelsea, it's two Wolfsburg players that are in the book so far, but yeah, it's certainly a warning that if they put in similar challenges and similar tackles, then they'll be in the book as well. So the referee's taking no prisoners today, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more yellows for either side as we go on.
Harder again dropping into that area between midfield and defence to get the ball. Stefan Lurch, he said this is his final season as Wolfsburg coach. Led them to 5 league titles in his time. Here's Kirby. Couldn't offload it to Ingle. Coolly done from Berger with Pop putting her under pressure. 20 minutes in, I think both managers might be thinking the same thing. We look decent going forward, but we need to tighten up at the back.
Yeah, definitely. It became a bit of a basketball match for a period there. Settled down a little bit now, but as I say, that Niamh Charles gives the ball away. I think Wolfsburg seem a bit happier to... Oh, maybe not.
Here's Rolfo. Shooting position here for Rolfo. And second time round, Berger makes the save again, and then it's cleared off the line by Jonna Andersson. Chelsea living on the edge here, and grateful to their goalkeeper and their left-back for keeping it at 0-0. Wolfsburg come again, and Berger might be called into action again. That time, Oberdorf wasn't able to force her into a save. These are worrying moments for Chelsea.
I was going to say Wolfsburg seem happy to let Chelsea have it at the back, but with that, Rolfo put Millie Bright under pressure, and Wolfsburg ended up with 3 attempts on goal that were very well defended, perhaps not well taken by the Wolfsburg players. And they seem to have changed their tactic here now with this goal kick. They're looking to set a trap and then go and press Chelsea. It's very, very interesting from both sides, the tactics. It's a bit of cat and mouse, you know, trying to tempt them out to play and then put them under pressure. But like you said, both teams look good in the opposition half, but not so good in their own.
Dawson got really tight to Kerr there, but decision has gone her way. Terrific double save from Berger, and that's the kind of thing you see goalkeepers working on all the time, isn't it? It's all right making one save, but getting up to make the second.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, you look at some of the goalkeeper sessions, they're absolutely brutal. They're up and down, the energy levels are insane. You know, they might not have to do a lot of running on the pitch, but their agility and their athleticism is incredible. And, you know, since Berger's come into the club, she's been absolutely fantastic for them and has made countless unbelievable and important saves. And, you know, we forget that there's always been at least 1 or 2 goalkeepers behind her really pushing her for that #1 spot. But generally speaking, in the big games, she's been the one Emma Hayes has gone to. And, you know, the penalty saves in the last round were testament to that. She's been a fantastic addition to Chelsea in the time that she's been there.
Yeah, Musovic and Telford both on the bench today. Here, Berger's organising a defence to try and repel this free kick. And in the end, it went straight through. Not a bad delivery from Rauch. Dawson got a foot to that, volleyed on still further onto the head of Eriksson. She cushioned one down for Harder. Here's Kirby.
I definitely think this pitch is playing its part. I think the more the game goes on and the more it's sort of cutting up, you can see they're not finding it easy to pass it along the floor at all, either team. And I think that's where some of the problems are coming, where they're trying to play out the back. It's not playing into a game that you see free flowing and fast football. It's difficult, but it's making for a good and entertaining game because it's putting the defences under pressure. So for us at home watching it, it's not too bad.
Here Chelsea got a free kick in a position of promise. Just 2 players in the wall for either G or Sophie Ingle to negotiate. Well, G put the first one straight into the goalkeeper's gloves, and Ingle's done the same with the second.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing. I think both those players would argue that their technique has let them down a little bit on those occasions, both in quite dangerous situations where they could have caused a problem for Wolfsburg, but yeah, just a bit too much slice on them and have ended up going into the goalkeeper's hands.
Kirby got it back from loopholes and couldn't move it on for Kerr. Not much in the way of support in this Wolfsburg attack, although Wolfo's trying to get up and help Pajor now, but she's won it back. Harder. The Wolfsburg throw.
She did well there, Janssen. She was at full stretch. Again, Harder was just millimetres away from touching it past her and being in a lot of space, but she did well and ended up knocking it back off Harder to win the throw-in for her team.
Miss Bright featured in all 6 previous games between these two. Charles in field for Harder, can't get it under control. Amanda Hayes says anybody thinking Wolfsburg aren't the team they once were are being fooled. She knows what quality opposition her team are up against.
You can never write off a side that's been involved in so many finals and the latter stages of this competition, and they're so dominant in the German league as well that you know they're going to be full of incredible and talented international players. That, okay, Pernille Harder's switched sides, but they weren't a one-player team. You don't get to finals just by having one player, so she's right to say there's no way they should be written off. And, you know, mentally they have got the upper hand over Chelsea. They have been their nemesis in the last few seasons, so there's absolutely no reason for Wolfsburg to fear Chelsea. Yes, I do think Chelsea are much closer to them and potentially were favourites going into this, so they've also got no reason to fear Wolfsburg. So it makes for a very, very exciting tie, because both teams think that they're going to be able to go through and beat each other. So it makes for hopefully a very good attacking couple of games. Haven't seen any goals yet, but I'm sure there's some coming from what we've seen so far.
Yeah, Wolfsburg have hit the post and had one ruled out for what was an obvious handball, but Chelsea have had a couple of opportunities of their own. More defending to do here. Overdorf let Dawson take over. There's Rauch. Charles felt she needed to get a touch to that against Rolfo, and Wolfsburg have got a corner.
Yeah, I thought she might have just been able to see it out, but she was under a lot of pressure, and obviously she's thinking safety first. You don't want to try and see it out and then get outmanoeuvred and the players in on goal. So probably the right decision under pressure.
Huth will take the corner. Could block that from Harder. And then a slice shot which has turned into a good pass. Eriksson with the header away. Now then, given what we've seen yellow cards dished out for already, I wonder if there might be another one here for Engen.
Yeah, I was going to say, if that was a yellow card, that'd be probably the harshest of the lot. I think she was just trying to get a toe on the ball just slightly late, but good defending from Chelsea, really looking to block everything and put their bodies on the line.
Right, going for a wander, away from Pajot. Gave it up to Kerr. She's flicked it on for Kirby. Really good ball. Can she find an angle for a shot here, Fran Kirby? Oh, she thought that Kerr had continued her run into the middle. Eriksson's challenge a bit too robust for the referee's liking. Wolfsburg getting on with the game quickly. Rolfo was the furthest advanced attacker there, but it's through to Berger.
Yeah, it was a real opening for Kirby there. I thought she was going to take the shot on. Obviously, like you said, she thought Sam Kerr or someone had continued their run into the box. It was a tight-ish angle, but I'd back Fran from there. I'd back her to find the back of the net or at least test the goalkeeper. You know, I love how unselfish she is as a player. It's something that's certainly improved over the years. You know, she's been such a ruthless finisher, and you can't blame her for taking shots a lot of the time, but she's really upped her game and her understanding and appreciation of other players who are sometimes in a better position than her, and that's paid off. You know, you saw it in the cup final with the goal she laid on a plate for her teammates, but on that occasion I think she needed to be selfish and try and test the goalkeeper, because, as I said, I would have certainly backed her to find a target.
When you were together at Reading, did you foresee her having the career that she's gone on to have? Did she always look like a superstar?
I mean, the talent was there, you know, and like I said, that ruthless finishing ability. You knew that as soon as she was in on goal, especially, you know, playing in what is now the Championship, you fancied her every time she got the ball anywhere in the opposition half that a chance would be coming, if not a goal. So that was certainly there. It was just a case of her getting experience, and I think obviously going to a club like Chelsea where she's surrounded by internationals, it's just upped her game massively. She went and made a huge impact on the world stage in the World Cup in 2015, and from then her career's just kicked on. She's had her injury problems, of course, and
well, the header cracked just wide. Well, Berger obviously felt confident about that from Rolfo, but it didn't miss by much.
It didn't. Again, it's another cross from the right-hand side that's caused Chelsea problems, and you know, Rolfo's got in there in between Niamh Charles and Millie Bright, and yeah, that's a dangerous moment and yet another warning sign. You know, I did think Chelsea would be quite happy with crosses coming in, but if they're not going to deal with them, it will cause some problems.
Here's Harder at the other end. Off footing, just got away from her. She's done really well to find G, though. And go forward for Kerr. Kirby to her left. The referee says get up. Looked as though that was a foul based on what we've seen before, certainly.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like Kerr was looking for it in the sense of she took her touch across the defender, but it did look like she got clipped there, and unfortunate not to have got a free kick in what would have been a very dangerous position with, you know, the likes of G on the pitch. Could have been a real problem for Wolfsburg, but the referee sees nothing doing.
Peugeot, meanwhile, able to get the cross in. That will be a Chelsea free kick. Difficult one for Emma Hayes, I suppose. All these crosses coming in, you might ordinarily say, well, get a midfielder to go and help out your fullback, but if you've only got three in there, then you're leaving yourself short in the middle of the park and could make things even worse.
Yeah, it's again, it's one of those where you want to work out where the biggest threat is, and you don't want teams to be able to play straight through the middle of you. But at the same time, if they do keep inviting these opportunities, it could only be a matter of time before one's taken. So I think maybe she just needs to have a word with the left-hand side of the pitch and just make sure that they can tighten that up a little bit. Whether it's a case of the whole defence sliding over a bit more to stop the ball getting out there so easily, or just packing the numbers into the box and trying to defend it a little bit better. It's definitely an area that she's going to need to look at. Whether it's I don't think they're going to necessarily make a change in personnel, but just, you know, maybe a little tweak in tactics as to how to deal with it a bit better. Whether it's stopping the ball getting there in the first place or dealing with it once it's there, you know, it's a decision for Emma Hayes to make.
The poor clearance has put Wolfsburg under pressure. Kirby again decided not to go for goal herself. Here's Kerr. Well boxed in by two to move it on for Anderson. Now G. Ring along for Kerr. Was it a cross? Was it a shot? In the end, it was neither.
Yeah, again, fair play, Wolfsburg. They did give the ball away under pressure in the first place, but they get bodies around it, and you know, they've stopped Chelsea having a good route into the box there. Again, could Kirby have had a strike from outside the box? I don't know. Probably not that clear cut. Tried to retain it, but just couldn't quite find that space into the area. Ends up going out harmlessly for a goal kick, but that's a bit better from Chelsea. They've been in the Wolfsburg half a little bit more in the last few minutes. It's almost like it's their turn to have a little spell of pressure.
Harder can get to that. Kirby. She moved it on quickly, left-hand side. Anderson scampers to get to the ball. Final 10 minutes of the first half, Chelsea on the front foot. Ziyech. Still so instrumental to the way that Chelsea play. Kirby, good way to pass for Sam Kerr. Oh, flag's gone up, must have been tight.
Yeah, that had to be very tight. I thought she timed that run really well, but the assistant referee obviously feels differently. But that's that link up that we've seen so often. They just know where each other's going to run and where the ball's going to be played. Oh, it was just about right, I think, but very close. Good save from the goalkeeper anyway.
Dawson thumps the free kick upfield. Chelsea only one defeat in their last 24 games in all competitions. It was that shocking end of the record-breaking unbeaten league run. With Brighton claiming victory. Wolfsburg only, as I mentioned, lost once all season. Nothing the referee could have done about that. The ball was hit at her from 10 yards.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? She thinks she's in a good position and suddenly the ball's upon you and you can't move your feet quick enough.
Rolfo. Tinker moving it wide, it was a good ball as well. Pajor and Pop still waiting in the middle here. Just lands on the roof of Berger's net. Gianfranco Harder. Got there ahead of Pajor that time. Oh, Bright, she's got a header all wrong. Real chance for Wolfsburg again, and Rolfo again. And once again, Chelsea are grateful to Ann-Katrin Berger.
Yeah, she was so alert there. Sloppy header from Millie Bright. Don't know if she didn't realise that there was a player there or if she just mistimed the header. But yeah, very thankful for Ann-Katrin Berger to come out there and save her blushes. Really alert goalkeeping again.
Very unbright-like, that header.
Yeah, you don't often see her under hit or, you know, not get enough on a header.
She just didn't realise Rolfo was there,
I just don't think she saw Rolfo at all. You know, good anticipation from the winger. I think that's a sign of a switched-on player. She could, you know, she saw that was what Bright was thinking. Probably didn't quite get enough on the header anyway, but yeah, it was very good play from Rolfo. But again, when you've got someone like Berger coming down on you, it's a difficult finish.
Here's Ingle. Nice idea from Charles. He'll try to shift it away from Rolfo.
Haven't seen as much as her in the last part of the first half. She hasn't been able to get quite so high up the pitch, but I think she'll be pleased with how she's done in this first half.
Here's Rolfo, centre of everything at the moment. Hendricks cross, too deep for everybody in green.
It's been a really interesting game. There's just been spells of either side having little periods, 3-4 minutes of pressure, then it turns over to the other team to have their turn. You know, and like you said, we've had some chances, Wolfsburg in particular. But Chelsea, they've had a couple of openings themselves with Pernille Harder and Fran Kirby, both having chances that didn't quite end in shots on goal. It's been a very interesting, it's been entertaining for sure.
First quarter of this tie nearly done. They'll be back here Wednesday next week to finish things off. Peugeot's cross blocked by Eriksson. She couldn't make it stick though. Now Ingle can look to get Chelsea moving forward. Anderson a willing chaser here against Dawson. Now Rolfo in some space far side again here. She's making her way into the middle now. Anderson trying to block the cross. Berger unable to prevent the corner.
That's better from Anderson. She's getting closer to her player there to at least stop the cross being too dangerous. Unfortunately, it just sneaked out for a corner, but I think they need to get tighter out there to stop the ball coming into the box in the first place if they can.
Corner number 3 of the first half for Wolfsburg. As with the previous two, it's going to be the left-back Rauch who will send it in. Big cry keeper, but Berger didn't get that one. Janssen will try and recycle. This time it'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, well defended by Harder.
Hello. Okay. Here's Bright. Nice turn from Melanie Leupolz. Pass that came after it, wasn't it? It was impressive. Here's Rolfo. Played it into the space. It's going to just skip away from Huth, though.
Yeah, Anderson recovered well there, but had that been a better ball, there was an absolute acre of space just to the right-hand side of Chelsea's penalty area there, and a better ball would have found them bearing down on goal. So again, need to be careful with that left-hand side of Chelsea.
And good. Somehow managed to keep that away from G.
I think that's another benefit of Niamh Charles playing as a right back, is she's so quick that when they do get those balls, that she's able to make up the ground, anything in behind. She's very, very fast and covers the ground well, and you know, it makes it more difficult for Wolfsburg to find their space down that channel, because she's able to, even if she's slightly out of position, she'll be able to recover with the pace that she's got.
Well, that is half-time in the first leg here. Both sides have had opportunities. Wolfsburg with the clearer ones, having hit the post and having a goal ruled out, but plenty of positivity from Chelsea on the front foot as well. But at the break in Budapest, we are still waiting for the opening goal of the game. Chelsea 0, Wolfsburg 0 is the score. Okay, well, the Blues already have silverware in the trophy cabinet for this season after a 6-0 win over Bristol City in the Conti Cup final. Let's go behind the scenes on final day.
It's a final. I'm approaching this final in exactly the same way I do every game, and it's irregardless of the opponent, because as you know with football, there's no such thing as a comfortable game.
we want to compete on all fronts. We want to go into the final in any competition that we play, and that's our standard, and that's the pressure we put on ourselves. And I think I'm really pleased with the fact that we actually won today, back-to-back champions. It just sends a really good message that Chelsea is here and Chelsea want to win.
So that is the second of the 5 trophies Chelsea are going for this season. This, though, probably the main prize, I think it's fair to say. 0-0 at half-time in the first leg of this Champions League quarter-final against Wolfsburg. We'll have a look back at some of the best bits of the first half. It was a really bright start by Chelsea, Helen, and could have had an early goal hit.
Yeah, they put Wolfsburg under a lot of pressure as Wolfsburg were trying to play out on what looks a difficult pitch. Chelsea looked to put them under pressure and capitalise on sloppy back passes like that, but just Pernille Harder just couldn't get a toe in to get it round the goalkeeper.
After that, though, really, Wolfsburg will be wondering how they didn't score. Pop hit in the post there, and it was down that side where they had so much of their joy.
They did. It became a bit of a constant threat, you know, for a period in that first half. And again, we see a cross coming in from the right-hand side, and this time it does end up in the back of the net. But it was a clear handball. Even if it wasn't intentional, it was handball. But it was very fortunate for Chelsea that it did strike her hand, because, as I said in commentary, I think it could easily have come off her knee or her, you know, any other part of her body, and it still would have ended in the back of the net. So it was a bit of a let-off for Chelsea there. And again here, getting played into trouble. But Ann-Katrin Berger has been a big player for them in recent seasons and has stepped up to the plate again today.
Yeah, brilliant double save there, and then Anderson clearing off the line too. Wolfsburg's had a couple of decent opportunities for Wolfsburg so far.
Yeah, she's quietly gone about her business on this left-hand side, but she sneaks in, she gets drawn into the centre of the pitch and has picked up on a couple of opportunities and may have, you know, found herself unlucky not to have scored so far.
Kirby just didn't get a head up there.
Yeah, he just wanted her to pull the trigger and try and test the goalkeeper in that situation.
Again, Rolfo there going close with the header. Have to keep an eye on her in the second half. But both sides will feel that they can defend a lot better than they have done in the opening period. This was the final big chance of the half for Wolfsburg, and again it was one that was of Chelsea's making in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and you know, I've been very complimentary of Niamh Charles in commentary, but you know, and in 1v1s out on the wing, and when she can see her player, she's done very well, and she's been very good on the ball as well, but just gets caught out a little bit, lacking in concentration.
So this is the draw for the quarter-finals. PSG and Bayern, both their games are coming up in the next hour or so. Chelsea, should they get through, the winner of this tie I should say, will play either Bayern or Rosengard in the semi-finals. And if you missed the scoreline earlier, Barcelona 3, Manchester City 0. City missed a penalty in that game as well. Helen, do you give them any chance of being able to turn that round there? They were missing Steph Horton today, but it's a heavy beating.
Yeah, it was a surprise, I have to say. I didn't expect it to be an easy game by any means for Manchester City, but I certainly didn't see them losing 3-0. So they've got everything they need to do, but they will be at home at the, you know, in the vicinity of the Manchester City Etihad Stadium. But yeah, it's going to be a tough one for them. But you know, I'm sure they'll give it everything, and they've got the players on the pitch that can go and cause Barcelona problems.
And of course, for many years it's been beat Lyon and you win the tournament. Are you minded that it's going to be something similar again this time round?
Quite possibly. I think teams are gradually starting to catch them up, but they're so dominant, you know, in their domestic league and in European football that it's hard to look past them as favourites, to be honest. But I think whichever team does end up facing them, I assume in the final, I think they're going to give them a good game. But yeah, it's difficult to look past them. They've just got full of talent, and when one player leaves, they seem to replace him with someone equally as good, if not better.
See the subs warming up here. You can make 5 in the Champions League this season. You would expect there to be some changes, maybe, what, around about the hour mark or so? Be surprised if anything happened at half-time, but given the amount of games that Chelsea have had in a short period, they are going to have to utilise the squad that they brought with them.
Yeah, I think so, and especially with you know, a quick turnaround, the second leg being next week with games in between, and then, you know, in a couple of weeks you've got a lot of their players be going off on international duty as well. They have to be mindful of that. So I think if they can utilise the five substitutes, they will do that. But like you said, I don't think there'll be any immediate or drastic changes for either side. I think both teams will be reasonably pleased with how they've played without being, you know, delighted. And I can't see anything happening, like you said, probably not until the hour mark, unless anything happens early in the game that suggests that there needs to be a change made.
We saw Wolfsburg struggle with playing the ball out from the back on the pitch. I always think that's slightly strange, because they were here last night and they did train on the pitch in the warm-up, but it looks as though they've abandoned that tactic, and you can sort of see why. But is that not something that the coach ought to have picked up on when they first saw the pitch? Yeah,
quite possibly. It's difficult because the training session the day before, the night before a game, is often very light. It's not too competitive, and they probably, if they did any passing, they wouldn't have done anything under any particular pressure. I mean, who knows? There could be a little bit of dew on the pitch in the second half as the sun's gone down. It might improve things. They may have trained at a time where it was a little bit slicker. I don't know. There's lots of things to think about, or they might just have backed themselves to play out on this surface, and it just hasn't happened for them tonight. But it certainly has caused the problems, not just for Wolfsburg, but for Chelsea as well. And as I said, I think both teams like to play the ball on the floor, so it's a bit disappointing for them not to be able to play that fast, free-flowing football. But, you know, as I said, it does make for an entertaining game, and, you know, any little mistakes will be pounced upon by either team's forwards.
Chelsea back in WSL action at the weekend. They play Aston Villa before the return here. You can see the Wolfsburg players slowly making their way back out for the second half. What's an acceptable result for Chelsea here? Because we quite often say, don't we, that 0-0 in what is technically the home leg is not the worst result for a team.
No, I think if they're going to draw, they're going to want a 0-0 rather than a 1-1. Obviously, they don't want to concede that away goal. Any kind of win would probably be good to take into next week, but possibly at this point you're looking at a clean sheet as a minimum, and then hopefully get a goal or two yourselves. But yeah, it's going to be possibly a little bit more cagey as the game goes on if Chelsea haven't scored, and Wolfsburg may well, you know, try and take advantage of being the away team, and go all out and try and get that all-important away goal. So again, it could be a very tactical cat and mouse type second half.
Second leg, by the way, is a little earlier than we kicked off today. It'll be 1 o'clock UK time, and we'll bring you that one as well. Wolfsburg, fearsome record at this stage. This is their 9th quarter-final appearance. They've won them all. They come into this on the back of 7 wins in a row in all competitions. They kept clean sheets in 6 of those matches. They were involved in the German Cup semi-final at the weekend against Werder Bremen, and they won that by 7-0. They are second in the Bundesliga behind Bayern, and that's only because Bayern have won all 16 of their league games, including the one that they played against Wolfsburg. Other than that, the She-Wolves have only dropped 2 points in the league all term, so it tells you the calibre of opposition that Chelsea are up against here. But this is who they want to be competing with, and although they would probably never admit it, of the 5 trophies they were going for this season, this is the one that they really, really want.
Yeah, it's been elusive, hasn't it? You know, since Arsenal won it way back in, I think, 2007, in what was a very different format in the UEFA Cup. You know, English sides haven't got anywhere near really challenging for this tournament, and I think if any team's going to do it with the squad they've got, Chelsea are going to be the ones that can get closest to it at this point in time. And, you know, if they can overcome a side like Wolfsburg, not only the fact that they've beaten a very good team, but they've beaten a team they've never beaten before, that would be massive for their confidence, and it will make them believe that they can go on and beat anyone later in the competition. So it's a huge tie, a big second half coming up for them, and it's going to be interesting to see how they play it out.
And the 3 previous meetings between these two, they've all been fairly one-sided. 4-1 in 2015-16 was the aggregate score, same a year later, and then 5-1 in the semis in 2018. So Wolfsburg playing from left to right as we look at it in the second half. Can either of these two find a goal to take into next week's second leg? Chelsea might be able to call on Bethany England by then. It's a concussion that's kept her out, but as we know, Maren Mjelde won't play again this season. Anderson away. Kerr chasing it down. That's really unlucky because she'd done well to get to the ball.
Yeah, she could show good pace there. Just couldn't quite keep it in. She's going to be an important player, I think, in this tie for Chelsea. Hasn't had much of a sighter of goal yet, but you know that when a chance comes, that she's in the sort of form where she'll take it.
He's just misread the runs of her strikers with a cross. Picked up over on the far side. Here's Rolfo. Flick on from Pop. Anderson looking for Kerr again. Got a bit lucky that it came to her off Oberdorf. Here's Harder. Got Kirby up in support. Rouch able to get it clear. And there we can see Kidrisnak not keen on playing it out from the back, going directly. Wolfsburg goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's maybe learnt their lessons from the opening sort of 15-20 minutes where they got caught out. And, you know, that's sensible for me. I think Chelsea showed that they were willing to go and press them, and why put yourself under that sort of pressure if you don't need to?
Huth. Harder just wanted that a little bit more. In fairness to her, got back into well. Harder felt she was fouled. Referee disagrees.
It's almost the opposite of the first half, where she was blowing a whistle for lots of sort of soft fouls, but that's a couple of challenges Harder feels she's been hard done by and not won the free kick.
She played it into the space, hoping Kirby was there. Janssen rolling it across to Dawson. Rolfo. Kirby's done well. Harder to her right, Kerr through the middle. Here's Pernille Harder. Kerr had made a run near post. A couple of times Chelsea have got in good positions in the final balls, let them down.
They just can't find that opening, can they? You know, Wolfsburg, they may let them get into areas, but once they're in dangerous positions, Wolfsburg have defended the spaces well and got into areas to stop Chelsea getting shots on goal. You know, apart from the one that Harder had in the first half, the goalkeeper hasn't really had to make a save.
Anderson got turned then. Here's Huth. Got room for a cross here and options in the middle too. Oh, it's a really good ball as well. It should have been 1-0, and for the second time, Wolfsburg hit the post. Oh, the marking left a lot to be desired there, and Rolfo still can't get a goal in this game.
And again, it's her drifting in off that left-hand side. Really good driving run from Huth. And a nice ball picked her out so well. And yeah, she's got to score that. She's absolutely unmarked, just outside the 6-yard box. I think she's got to score it. Unfortunate it's come off the post, but I think she's got to do better there. Having said that, if it was on target, Millie Bright may well have blocked it.
Can you turn your talk back off, please? Here's Kirby.
It's another warning sign for Chelsea, that's for sure.
Us,
you know, even if Wolfsburg don't look to be playing particularly well, they are capable of creating chances.
They can't keep missing them though. That's the thing, isn't it?
That's the trouble, yeah. I mean, they're almost breakaway ones, where they've not necessarily played some fantastic build-up play to get into those areas, but they find themselves there and they're creating those openings. And you know, for all the possession that Chelsea may have had, they're not creating the same types of chances, and you have to give credit to Wolfsburg for that.
Here's Leupolz. Kerr on for Harder. Leupolz asking Charles to go and chase that. Kerr did well to shield the ball, and Charles has got into the penalty area here. Oh, and Kirby was there waiting for a cutback, just nicked off Charles' toe before she could put it in.
Sam Kerr did ever so well there, because I think if she hadn't been there, the defender would have come across and cut that out. But she did brilliantly well to get herself in the way without giving away a free kick for obstruction. Allowed Charles to step onto the ball. Just got a toe in. I think it was Janssen at the last minute there, but she got herself into a really dangerous position in the box. But just again, Wolfsburg didn't allow them to create that opening.
First corner of the game for Chelsea. Ingle sent it over. Lupol's got a head on it. It's a really good delivery, that, from Sophie Ingle.
Yeah, I think that's the type of delivery she would have been looking for from that free kick in the first half. More driven. Difficult one for Lupol's with it going away from goal, though, to get it on target. Perhaps would have been better looking for a bit more of a flick on to find someone else. But that's a bit better from Chelsea. Got into a good area. They just need to build on that now and cut out the mistakes that are leading to opportunities down this right-hand side for the Wolfsburg.
Wasn't an easy ball for Berger to deal with, but she did well. Eriksson. Charles trying to work it into Lupol's. Wolfsburg have got it back though, until Lupol's commits the foul. Again, Kerr working hard to keep the pressure on Kidra's neck and make sure she's got to get rid of it first time onto the head of G. Nice cushioned header second time round from G to find Harder. Wolfsburg can break now though. Huth. Here's Pajot. Just about to say there was no angle for a shot. She felt there was. Behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, good defending from the captain there. Just made sure that she didn't commit, didn't let her go past her, but also didn't let her get an angle for that shot on goal. Just did enough. But again, Anderson being caught up the pitch, that space on her side of the pitch, it is really, it's a cause for concern, definitely.
Kirby at the other end, meanwhile, they're cross blocked at source. Hill's in the throw. Kerr helped it on. Eriksson. Anderson offering the width, came in field to Ingle. She did well with the return pass. Kirby's helped it on. Can Kerr find a finish here around the goalkeeper? Oh, she's done it! Magnificent from Sam Kerr. How on earth has she squeezed that in? A terrific goal. And Chelsea strike first in the quarter-final.
What a finish that is. I was convinced she was going to try and find someone to pull that back to, but she's absolutely leathered that into the back of the net. Really good build-up play from G and Fran Kirby there. Almost looked like the ball had got caught under her foot. You know, wonderful vision from Fran Kirby. I'm not sure what the Wolfsburg players are complaining about there. She was nowhere near offside. Brilliantly timed run. Great pass from Kirby. I mean, if she's seen that, that's fantastic. And as I said, what a finish. Absolutely ruthless from Sam Kerr. And, you know, that's exactly what Chelsea needed. It's been a difficult start to the second half for them. Exactly what they needed. And now I think they can settle down and, you know, it's up to Wolfsburg now to come at them and try and get that away goal.
16th of the season all told for Sam Kerr, and that is a big one. Second in this competition for her this season, 10 minutes after the restart. Chelsea strike first. Wolfsburg will be fuming about that, having hit the post twice and had several opportunities to go in front themselves.
Yeah, I mean, the Wolfsburg players and the goalkeeper were up in arms there, suggesting it was offside, but she was nowhere near it. It wasn't even a close one. But fantastic vision from Fran Kirby.
She's on the ball now. No space for a shot, so she teed it up for Charles. Dabbed in by Ingle. Kerr got ahead to that one as well, but used too much force to beat her opponent to the ball.
It's given them a little spring in their step, I think, that goal. You know, they don't want to get too carried away. It is, as you said, this will only be half-time at the end of this match, so they don't want to get too carried away in the next sort of 10 or 15 minutes. They need to settle down. If they can get another goal, fantastic, but make sure you're keeping it tight in the defensive areas and in the midfield. Don't let Wolfsburg get back into the game with any type of possession or creating opportunities.
Here's loopholes. That's too much of Kirby that time. And that link up between Kirby and Kerr has been devastating in recent weeks. We saw the best example of that at half-time in the Conti Cup final, but it was those two players again who combined. And Kerr absolutely had to take that first time, didn't she? Because the angle was getting narrower and narrower.
Yeah, I thought, you know, once she'd taken the touch by the goalkeeper, I thought she was going to turn out and look for someone to set it back to, but you know, being the sort of forward that she is and the absolute ruthless goal scorer, there was obviously only one thought in her mind, and she rifled that into the goal. There was nothing anyone could do about that. No defender on the line was going to stop it, and yeah, fantastic for her. She's not had many sighters today, but one chance and a great finish, so fair play to her.
Anderson into G. Anderson carried her on up to halfway, then fed it down the line and asked Kerr to go and chase it, which she'll happily do. Anderson's backing her up here. Kerr's done brilliantly. Anderson, can she get a shot away? She just didn't want to hit it with her right foot, and the goal was gaping.
Yeah, just swing your foot at that. It was open. It opened up for her so well. Brilliant play by Sam Kerr once again. She's got to just swing her right foot at it. I know she's left-footed, but when you're in that sort of space in the penalty area, you've got to give it a go.
I scored in this competition before, Jonna Anderson, but it was in 2009.
Not renowned for her goal-scoring ability, obviously.
Maybe not yet, but 15, 20 minutes time, Chelsea might have a decision to make as to whether they want to go for a second or try and hold what they have.
Yeah, definitely. I think the longer the game goes on, obviously Wolfsburg are going to try a little bit more. I don't think they're going to go all out because they do have that second leg. It's not a case of they need to score or they're going to be knocked out. But I do think they'd like to get that away goal, so they may start taking a few more risks, and it's just up to Chelsea to try and deal with that, perhaps catch them on the counter-attack if that does happen. But like you said, it's going to be a decision. Do you try and go for the jugular now and make up, make the most of your advantage, or just hold firm and take the clean sheet and get yourselves home?
He's got such good hold-up play. Of course, her mate Fran is right with her, helping out. Ball clearance straight to Ingle. Managed to offload it to G under pressure. Kerr couldn't quite get on the same wavelength that time. There's Pajor, she's got Huth up there with her. Eriksson got the block on the shot. As far as Engen. Good challenge from Lee Charles.
That's a great tackle. I don't know how that's a free kick. Oh, she's giving it that way. No, she hasn't. That was a great tackle. Very unfortunate there, Niamh Charles. If this leads to a goal, I think Chelsea will be very, very disappointed and very hard done by. I think that was a fantastic tackle.
That was more like the first half refereeing from Jana Adamkova.
I mean, she's barely even touched her there, to be honest. It's not even a bad follow-through. It's such a clean tackle. I can't, for the life of me, see how she's given a free kick there. I think that's the worst one of the lot so far.
best angle for the cross.
No, they do have a bit of height though, Wolfsburg, so if they can get the delivery right, it could still cause problems.
It's not the tallest Chelsea wall either. Well, they fooled everybody and worked it short to Pop, and she scooped it a long way over the crossbar.
If they come off, they look brilliant, but they're so hard to execute. She's running away from goal, almost having to turn 180 to try and get a shot off. It's a very difficult technique. If you catch it, it flies, but it's not an easy one to do. As you see, she's running away from the goal. She's not facing the right way, and you know, even someone with a left foot as wonderful as hers, it's a very, very difficult one. I think Chelsea will be pleased that they took that option rather than sticking it into the area where they had lots of bodies.
Bounced off Kerr, unlucky that. Pops ball in. Oh, it's a really good one as well. What a save from Ann-Katrin Berger to deny Rolfo again. Oh, she's made some incredible stops this season, the German in the Chelsea goal, but that's got to be the best of the bunch.
That was fantastic. Again, Niamh Charles just got caught ball watching with Rolfo on her shoulder. She's not sure where she is, can't see her. Great effort. Oh, what a save that is. That is an absolutely world-class save.
Chelsea's goal coming under some pressure now.
I wonder if Emma Hayes might look to bring on someone like Hannah Blundell that's got that bit of experience, maybe. I know she hasn't played too many games of late, but might be a change that she looks to make. I don't think Niamh Charles has done anything particularly wrong, but she, you know, she does get caught a little bit ball watching, and that's where the chances have come from, where she's just not seeing the player over her shoulder. It's good movement from Rolfo, don't get me wrong. She's obviously playing off that. But it is causing Chelsea a couple of issues, and maybe something that Emma Hayes wants to tighten up.
Corner number 6 of the game for Wolfsburg there, ramping up the pressure just past the hour mark in the first leg of this quarter-final. Not a good short corner though, who couldn't get it under control. Chelsea might be able to break here. Charles into G. Kerr and Harder coming forward here. Can Charles pick either of them out? Spam one with the outside of her boot, just didn't get the weight on the pass needed.
Yeah, I like the idea of that. Nice idea, just couldn't quite get enough on it. And that is the benefit of Niamh Charles, is when you do break, she's got that ability. But I think Chelsea will be pleased with the choices Wolfsburg have made at a couple of set pieces. She absolutely fired that short corner at a teammate there and allowed for Chelsea to go on the break.
Here's G. A lot of best work from deep today so far. It's not a great header from Dawson out to Kerr, and now Kirby. Need to work it back for Harder. Managed to get something on it, but the defender got the block on. Ingle. Lovely reverse pass into Kirby. Looking for Kerr. Oh, just too high.
That would have been a great move.
Fooled everybody with the pass. And she's on the ball again. Chipped it into the space for loopholes. Come off Janssen last. No, it's a goal kick.
I think we've seen the best of Sophie Ingle in that little passage there. She's unfortunate enough to have played alongside her for Chelsea back in the day, but also for Wales. And you know, her range of passing, her composure on the ball is absolutely delightful. And you know, from a reverse pass there to the little chip into Luke.
Oh, it's 2-0 from absolutely nothing. Wolfsburg have gifted Chelsea a second goal, and it's Pernille Harder against her old club who has helped Chelsea take a massive step maybe into the semi-finals. What on earth happened here? Caught everybody out. It's a dreadful, dreadful clearance from Kedri's neck. And then Kirby moved it on for Kerr. And Pernille Harder said, thank you very much. A gift from her old teammates. It's Chelsea 2, Wolfsburg 0.
Yeah, as you said, that caught everybody out. You know, none more so than the Wolfsburg player that the goalkeeper was trying to find. I think really sloppy. I thought they decided to stop trying to play out of the back. Obviously, the goalkeeper had different ideas there. Terrible technique on the pass, and you know, but credit to Chelsea again, Fran Kirby and Sam Kerr being ruthless and again unselfish, knowing where their teammates are, and a nice finish from Pernille Harder, who will be very pleased with that. I don't think it's been an easy night for her. You know, coming up against your old team, a team that you've got so much affection for as well. It can't be easy, and you know, I think a couple of her touches have been a bit loose, maybe the occasion getting to her a little bit, but she's finished that really well, and I think that, you know, that's gonna really please her, and I think you'll see a bit of a lift in her performance for the rest of this game.
Got 9 goals in this competition for Wolfsburg last season. That's her first in Europe for Chelsea. Here's Huth. Wolfsburg looking for a quick reply. It's hit Charles. Where did it hit her? Wolfsburg screaming for a penalty. Referee says corner only.
Yeah, I mean, her hands looked to be down by the side of her. Not much she could have done about that. She was only a couple of yards away from the ball when it was hit, so that would have been an extremely harsh penalty. Not to say I wouldn't be surprised if it was given, to be honest.
Short corner was a bit better. Decent ball flung in as well. Well, Chelsea can keep the 0 in the Wolfsburg goals column here. It will be an incredibly successful first leg.
Yeah, they'd be delighted with it, wouldn't they? And I think coming back next week, knowing the pitch, knowing the stadium, and knowing that they've got, you know, the beating of this team. Obviously, there's still another 20, 25 minutes to go. They need to keep concentration and make sure they keep their standards, particularly in the defensive side of the game. But if they can do that, you know, they've really set themselves up for an interesting second leg and, you know, the potential of a semi-final place.
Here's Bright. They've made a substitution. Wolfsburg. Blomqvist has come on to replace Rolfo. Bit surprised by that, Helen. Rolfo's looked the most likely player to score for them.
Yeah, she's been a real threat on the left-hand side for Wolfsburg, so I am surprised by that. I mean, you never know, sometimes there's loading issues and little niggly injuries that can make a manager's decision, but...
that might be a penalty this time. It is. Now, Wolfsburg do have the chance to get back into it. It was Eriksson's challenge.
That's a shame. I know it's hard, it happened so quickly. I didn't think she needed to make that challenge, but I think it's a clear penalty.
Yeah, just stretching, wasn't she, and caught Huth.
Yeah, Huth almost came from her blind side and maybe just reacted that little touch too late. Definite penalty, and you know, if she hadn't brought her down, perhaps she would have been in on goal. So,
well, can and Katrin Berger do what she did so well against Atletico Madrid in the last round when she saved 2 penalties in the first leg? Chelsea need their goalkeeper to come up big here. Nothing she could do about that, though. That was pretty much the perfect penalty from Dominique Janssen. And Wolfsburg have a goal back, an away goal. Chelsea 2, Wolfsburg 1. Plenty of work left to do.
That's a shame. Fantastic penalty. I don't think any goalkeeper's saving that when it hits the roof of the net. That's a big goal for Wolfsburg.
Cool as you like from the centre half. Well, no goals in the first half. So in quick succession here. They probably feel that's the least they deserve, to be fair, when they've hit the post twice, had one disallowed.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, I'm surprised with the chances that they've had that they haven't hit the net sooner. From a Chelsea point of view, it is disappointing when you go 2-0 up and you seem to be in control. Just a little lapse of concentration has cost them the away goal there. But, you know, it's not to say that anything, you know, they don't need to change anything. It's important they keep their heads and keep going the way they were going. If they can add another goal, great, but just taking a lead into the next game will be massive for Chelsea. And, you know, I'm sure that Emma Hayes, if it finishes 2-1, should be relatively pleased, especially with how the game's gone.
Top captain is the player who's hurt. Looks as though she's going to be okay. Well, it's a big goal for him, Stefan Lerch. Trying to do what he hasn't been able to do so far. Wolfsburg in various roles for 8 years. Here's Eriksson. Shake off the disappointment of having given that penalty away quickly. Anderson under pressure from Huth. Kerr got the flick on. Harder's got the second ball too. Only Kirby in the middle at the moment, so she hangs on to it and gives it back to Kerr. Defending from Hendrick against Kerr.
She defended well there.
Hendrick, former winner of this competition with Frankfurt. Down the line from Blomqvist, the substitute for Pajot to chase. Good tackle from Charles. It's really sloppy from Dawson.
It's been a theme of their play throughout. They've been really susceptible to giving the ball away at the back, whether it's from the goalkeeper or the centre halves. Chelsea has certainly picked up on that.
Well, it's the end of the evening for Ji So-yeon. The fresher legs of Erin Cuthbert coming on for the final 15 minutes or so here. Cuthbert, who's got great pedigree in this competition, scored in every round. And then Chelsea were last in it, including a volley in the semi-final against Lyon that was voted as the best goal in the competition that season.
Yeah, it's not a bad game for a player like Erin Cuthbert to come into. She's very busy. She'll get in amongst the Wolfsburg players and she won't allow them to settle on the ball, and that's possibly exactly what Chelsea need right now, just to get a foothold in the game again.
Motoring here to get across to Hendrick. Here's Huth, growing in influence as the game goes on. Not a bad ball in from Hendrick. Charles got a head to it. Ingle managed to find Kirby. Oberdorf's ball, too high. This is where concentration's so key, isn't it? Because Chelsea don't often play against teams of this quality, or certainly not week in, week out.
No, they're used to having the ball and controlling games, the pace of them, the tempo of them, and, you know, controlling the possession and doing basically what they want with it a lot of the time, especially in the WSL. So it's a test for them. You know, it's similar to Wolfsburg, though. They're coming up against an opposition that they don't face week in, week out in the Bundesliga as well. So it's both teams are definitely facing their toughest test of the season so far, I'd say. You know, since Wolfsburg scored their penalty, they've been on top. Chelsea just need to regroup and get themselves back in the game, start winning the ball higher up and not inviting too much pressure.
Switch of play from Dawson. the pressure for the moment.
Yeah, it's intelligent play there. I think Fran Kirby, a lot of players would have just hit it down the line and got it out of the way, but she realised that that would just be giving the ball back to Wolfsburg. Instead, she's played for the free kick and got a little bit of relief for her team.
It's the end of Pageau's game. So making their second substitution to bring on a player Chelsea know very well. Janet Jakabifi got a hat-trick at Stamford Bridge when these two met in the 16-17 season. Right into the channel, trying to bring Kerr into play, but not able to catch up to that before it went out. Remember, both legs of this tie will be played in the Schuster Ferenc Stadium. It's because of travel restrictions from Germany, meaning that Wolfsburg couldn't enter the UK. Harder. Instead has turned over possession. Chelsea got to be careful here. Anderson had to get that right and missed a touch. Huth. Hendrick had offered her support from right back, but she came back in field instead. And then Engen overhit the pass.
Huth is becoming more and more of an influence in this game for Wolfsburg in this second half. She's a dangerous little player.
This will break for Harder. She's got Cuthbert to her left and Kerr through the middle. Kirby's up in the attack as well. Cuthbert hanging on to it, making sure her team kept possession. Here's Ingle. Kirby. No foul by Huth on Cuthbert, blocked her off. Maxim with a bit of a hit and hope, trying to bring Kerr into play. Now she's out of position. Good defending again from Charles, definitely no foul that time.
That's where she has been very good in those 1v1s. As I said, she's got the good pace and she's defended those situations really well, and you have to give her credit for that.
Ingle didn't emerge with the ball that time. Pass was misplaced though. Charles will be able to mop up. Guro Wrighton's going to come and add some more freshness for these closing 10 minutes on in place of Fran Kirby. You mentioned it at the start, Helen. It's an incredible replacement to be able to call upon. Just shows again the depth and quality of this Chelsea squad.
Yeah, it does, and you know, to replace one world-class player with another is a luxury that not many managers got. But Emma Hayes has certainly got that. And Guro Wrighton, she's had a very good season for Chelsea. Not always in the starting lineup, but when she does come on the pitch, she often makes a difference, and you know, she's got 10 minutes now to go out and try and do that again.
Wolfsburg looking for an equaliser meanwhile, and that flicked off the boot of a Chelsea defender and behind for yet another corner. Big moments these in the tie, in the seasons of these two teams. It's presented it straight to Jakabifi. near post where Eriksson was waiting. I was just about to say Wolfsburg definitely with the momentum at the moment. That's one way to kill it.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be in any rush to get this ball out.
Looks like Drew Spence will come on in the next Chelsea change.
Yeah, it's another one just to potentially shore up that midfield area. Maybe Pernille Harder, one of the more attacking players. Just to make sure they don't concede again. You know, you'd take a 2-1 from here, definitely. I think I mentioned at the start of the game, any sort of win will be good going into the next leg. The last thing they want to do is concede another away goal.
Has gone up here.
That's a terrible call.
Wasn't even close, was it?
No, it wasn't. There was at least 2 players playing her onside. I can see why she's disappointed in that.
Ingle on for Harder. Stride away from Oberdorf, who caught her. And was going to get booked for that.
No, it's good play from Harder. Again, used all her experience, got herself across the player and ran into her path and made it very difficult for her not to bring her down. Don't think it was intentional, but it's definitely a foul.
Third player to get a yellow card in this game. They've all been Wolfsburg players.
Yeah, there's nothing she can do about it. It is harsh and it's so frustrating when the free kick's given against you, but she's clipped her, and you know, as I said, that's Harder doing what she knows best and using her experience. She knows that if she gets across the player that she's going to be brought down, and you know, when you've got someone like Guru Reiten on there with your left foot that she's got.
Clipped in by Reiten, or Eriksson coming round the back, and then Kerr couldn't get the touch either.
Fantastic delivery. I think any touch on that would have made it difficult for the goalkeeper. Really driven, lots of pace on it. Sam Kerr so close. I don't know if she just hesitated slightly because she thought that Eriksson was going to get on the end of it. Just couldn't stretch out that left foot.
Here's Blomqvist. Be able to bring it clear. Here's Kerr. Chelsea in no rush to get forward now with just over 5 minutes left. Kerr could head for the corner flag and stay there. That would be ideal. She was outnumbered though. Thumps it up to halfway. It's going to come straight back though.
Yeah, Wolfsburg are really going for it now. I think they can sense that they're on top, and they know that another goal will be huge for them. Chelsea looking a little bit tired going forward now, but the most important thing for them is to stay in shape defensively, and if they can get some relief by getting it forward, then great. But until then, winning free kicks like that is exactly what they need. Just a little body there. Silly free kick to give away as an attacker, really, in these circumstances, but one that Chelsea will be very, very grateful for.
Well, he looks concerned. His team have had plenty of opportunities to score more than once today, but at the back they've been decidedly shaky.
Yeah, and I think you would be concerned if you were him. For a start, they're not used to losing, so it's not a nice feeling. But also you're thinking, you know, if we lost our chance, we've had all these opportunities in this game, who's to say they're going to get the same opportunities next week? You know, and that could be all the difference.
Might be another goal for Chelsea here, all right, and just couldn't get hold of it. Well, she had to take it first time. Here's Dawson. Good challenge from Cuthbert. Disappointed that the decision's gone Chelsea's way.
Yeah, it's good work from Erin Cuthbert. Again, Emma Hayes screaming at her to get over there, really encouraging her players. And sometimes as a player, that's what you need. Just someone in your ear saying, come on, you could do it, get over there, close them down. Just gives you that little extra burst of energy. And Erin Cuthbert's done well, and that's exactly what she's been brought on to do, to get in amongst it and win the ball back for her team. And she's done that by winning their team a throw-in. And hopefully this isn't a problem that's too serious for Berger. She's made some absolutely world-class saves tonight, and they're going to need her for the run-in in every competition that they're in at the moment.
Looks like a problem with her groin, which is what she's getting treated for. Chelsea do have two goalkeepers on the bench, two international goalkeepers as well, but we've seen Katrin Berger's quality all season, and in particular in this game.
We have, I mean, that one that she tipped over from point-blank range was fabulous.
Talk back off, please. It looks as though she's going to try and continue here, or is she? Talk back off, please.
I'm not sure. She looks concerned. She doesn't look very comfortable at all. And, you know, I know there's only 2 minutes to go, but if that's going to affect her in how she can clear a ball or, you know, operate as a goalkeeper, that could be trouble for Chelsea. But hopefully she's going to be okay.
Well, you think if she can get through the last few minutes here, she might well get a rest when Chelsea play Aston Villa in the league on Sunday.
Yeah, that's very true. I'd imagine that could well be the case. You know, and try and just wrap her up and get her back for next Wednesday's game.
It's a difficult one for Emma Hayes, that, isn't it? Because you think, well, this is the priority, but the league is so tight that you can't afford to change all 11 players.
No, you certainly can't. And, you know, despite the embarrassment of riches that Chelsea have got.
It's a decent looking cross. This will test Berger. She managed to pour that. She's not right.
No, that hurt her. That really that's causing her some trouble. The last thing she wants to do is make it so bad that it rules her out longer term as well.
Good defending from Cuthbert.
Really good defending. Wouldn't be surprised to see someone else take this goal kick here. Yeah, going back to Chelsea's squad, I think, you know, you could argue that they could put any 11 players on the pitch and they'll go out there and do a job. You know, no disrespect to Aston Villa, but it's the sort of side that Chelsea would be looking to beat, and they'll be able to potentially rest players. But you also need that continuity. The likes of Magda Eriksson at the back, she's so important to the side, and the core of the team, you suspect, would stay fairly similar if possible. You know, they've had 1 or 2 knocks over the last couple of weeks, and they may rotate in there, but I think it's important to try and keep some consistency and keep momentum, because if you change too many players, it's difficult for those players to come in with limited minutes and gel straight away, whoever you're playing against.
Chelsea is for PSG. It's for PSG, it's for Leopold's. I've got PSG on the brain because they're goalless at half-time in the first leg of their quarter-final against Lyon.
I don't know if you picked it up on the sound there, but you can hear Emma Hayes saying, what sort of officiating is this? I mean, I have to say that all of the yellow cards have been very unfortunate. Maybe the one on Harder aside. That you could argue that the others, the handball was a handball, but the 2 fouls that have been given yellow cards for, that they're barely even fouls, let alone bookings.
Stoppage time there was. Another corner then for Chelsea to defend here. The 5 minutes of stoppage time that were signalled have passed, and Katrin Berger essentially on one leg, hoping the ball doesn't come too close to her. Eriksson at the near post got the first touch, then Wrighton got it further to safety. Defending from Ingle that time, but she's not been able to prevent the corner. Chelsea desperate for the final whistle here.
It's going to be a long 3.5 minutes, I think.
Seen the quality of Huth's delivery on several occasions. Goalkeeper punched that one away at chest height. Ball back in. So canny to just take it with the feet at first rather than the hands. Just to, I know it's only a couple of seconds, but
yeah, and it's the confidence as well to do that and trust your touch in the dying minutes of a Champions League quarter-final first leg. You know, to have that confidence. So I'm surprised she didn't catch the first one. I have to say, it looked at a height that she could have caught it, but obviously wanted to be safe, and it did the job for Chelsea.
Now Cuthbert will head to the corner flag. No foul by Ingle, nor by Eriksson. Kerr not wanting to get involved for fear of the flag going up, but Harder can, and Harder might be able to nick it. My goodness me.
Oh, that was close.
Communication between goalkeeper and defenders for Wolfsburg has been non-existent at times.
I'm not sure why she let that bounce so many times before.
Well, here's an opportunity at the other end for Blomqvist, and Berger, in agony, has managed to make the save, and in a lot of ways that's as impressive as the world-class one she pulled off earlier in the half.
Yeah, for her to keep going in the way that she is, just, I think if that had fallen for her as she was running through on her right foot and she was able to get a shot away, it might have been a different story. The bounce was unkind.
Wolfsburg not giving this up. They don't want to go into the second leg with a deficit. Engen. Huth trying to turn away from Anderson. Engen again. And he's imploring her team to push out.
Yeah, she's the loudest person in the ground right now. Well defended by Millie Bright there, just did enough. And again, Berger just taking her time. There's nothing more frustrating than that as a forward, when you feel like the goalkeeper's just toying with you. But it's clever and it's experience. And again, she's doing all she can. Like you said, she's on one leg at the moment, but it shows the character. She's been through so much in her life that a little groin strain's not going to trouble her too much.
Absolutely. She'll come and get that as well. Oh, my goodness me. She's been really hurt again. She's been in the walls throughout this run, and Katrin Berger.
Yeah, that's a sore one.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough. You kill her.
And it's Alex Poppy's already been booked, who made that challenge.
It's a sore one for both of them. But she is late, but you know, the momentum on. It's not a nice one. If I was the referee, I'd probably just call time now.
And then get as far away from Emma Hayes as you possibly could.
Yeah, get yourself down the tunnel. I think Pop was late, but again, you know, it's in the dying seconds. It's always a ball that she's going to challenge for, and it's one of those that is dangerous. The ball's in the air, two players going for it, somebody's inevitably going to end up being hurt. And, you know, I don't think she meant it by any means, but it was a sore one for both of them, quite clearly, as they're both still on the ground. I don't think the referee's going to book her, but she is hanging around as if she's got something to say, and that would obviously have implications on the second leg. But she hasn't got a card out yet, so I don't think she's gonna do anything or take any further action.
He's back to her feet. Berger is not yet. Added time here. This is how it happened. Not sure really there's much that Pop could have done differently there,
to be honest, the ball was bouncing, and as I said, it's, you know, she's looking for a goal for her team, and you'd be disappointed if your players aren't going for balls like that. But at the same time, she's clearly caught Berger, and she was slightly late. But, you know, I don't think there was any intention in that or any malice. I think we know how Emma Hayes feels about it.
No further action other than a free kick. And a card for the Chelsea coach, though. We've had nearly 3 minutes more than the minimum recommended.
Not sure why Sam Kerr was in such a hurry to take that throw in.
She just realised,
yeah, I think
didn't
she sort of lost herself there. I don't think that would have gone down too well with Emma Hayes had she thrown that in so quickly.
A brilliant first leg result for Chelsea. They've beaten Wolfsburg at last, albeit only half the job is done. All the goals in the second half here. Sam Kerr 10 minutes after the restart, 11 minutes after that, Pernille Harder doubled the Blues' advantage against her old club. But a Janssen penalty means that this tie is far from over. And Katrin Berger made some brilliant saves. Wolfsburg hit the woodwork on a couple of occasions and had another one ruled out too. Chelsea had opportunities to further add to their scoreline too. But for Pernille Harder, a happy reunion against her former club so far. Chelsea have only done half the job though. They'll come back here to Budapest on Wednesday of next week to try and complete it. Sam Kerr's goal, an excellent finish, and then Harder's, which came gift wrap from her former colleagues. The Janssen penalty though has kept things very much in the balance. But for the first time, Chelsea have beaten Wolfsburg. Final score in the first leg of the quarter-final: Chelsea 2, Wolfsburg 1. Let's have a look back then at how the game unfolded. First half, the better of the chance definitely went to Wolfsburg, Helen.
Yeah, definitely. Pop obviously hitting the post there, and the majority of the Wolfsburg chances throughout the game came from that right-hand side. You know, she's done well to get across that front post, but she'll be disappointed not to have snuck it in just inside the post. Again, good movement. Unfortunately came off her hand, rightly ruled out, but again, coming from that right-hand side where Chelsea did struggle at times. Another very good cross. Berger probably for once just getting caught in two minds there. Can't say that she made many mistakes through the course of the game, but certainly on this show, and you could see that Wolfsburg had the better of the chances in that first half. Brilliant double save, and then a very good clearance from Anderson on the line.
Yeah, Rolfo had a couple of goes. She would be denied later on by an even better stop than that, but Iona Anderson, right place, right time there. And after the restart, Wolfsburg started strongly again, but this off the post for the third time. How unlucky.
Yeah, again, and it's Huth down this right-hand side, crossing it in for a player to run off the back post into the middle of the area. But Chelsea survived it, and then when the chances came their way, they were very ruthless in how they took them.
And this was just an exceptional finish. It's a really well-worked goal anyway.
It is the vision there from Fran to know where Sam Kerr was going to be, and then that for a finish. I mean, there's not many players in the world that can stick that in the back of the net from that tight angle. She knew exactly what she was doing. Great play from G, lovely ball round the corner from Fran Kirby, and fantastic touch and finish from Sam Kerr.
So that was 1-0, 10 minutes gone in the second half. Kirby and Kerr linking up to great effect again. Wolfsburg continued to threaten.
Yeah,
this was the save.
Unbelievable save. You know, the reactions for that is just, it's just superb, and you know, Wolfsburg must have thought it was never going to go in.
But then everybody caught cold by this dreadful defensive mix-up for Wolfsburg, and Pernille Harder, well, she didn't celebrate much against her old club.
Yeah, just a terrible goal kick. Defender could do nothing. Really good awareness from Sam Kerr just to slide it into Harder's path, and she was never going to miss from there, you know, against her old club. Put her team 2-0 up, and, you know, at that point, Chelsea really looked to be in the driving seat.
Wolfsburg came back and they got themselves a penalty. Not much doubt about it either. Eriksson on Huth right in front of the referee.
Yeah, there's no complaints there. I think Eriksson knew as soon as she'd gone to ground, she almost regretted it. And it was Huth again who'd been a thorn in Chelsea's side, and fantastically taken penalty from Dominique Janssen there. You know, for a centre-back, that's a fantastic penalty. Great technique, brave to go high, but if it works, it's unstoppable.
So Chelsea in an excellent position then to make it through to the semi-finals. We'll have the second leg live for you. Remember, that's a slightly earlier kickoff, 1 p.m. UK time for that one. We'll be back here in Budapest for that game. You can see highlights of this match on the Fifth Stand app within the next couple of hours or so. But it was a good night's work for Chelsea in Budapest. Final score at the Susas Ferenc Stadium in the first leg of this Champions League quarter-final was Chelsea 2, Wolfsburg 1.